This workshop will help you to find different physicalities for the different characters in the play. First of all, come into the space and find a space you can stand in on your own. If you feel comfortable to do so, please close your eyes. And with your eyes closed, notice how you are standing. Everybody stands in their own unique way. Do you have weight on one foot or the other? Are your shoulders up by your ears or are they more relaxed? Don't change anything, just be aware of how you stand. Where is your weight? Are you looking up or down or to one side maybe? Just check in with yourself. This is your unique physical character. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to try and remove that character so we have a blank canvas upon which to work. This is called being in neutral. When actors are in neutral, what we mean is that their feet are hip width apart, their knees are relaxed, their hips are relaxed, their hands are heavy by their sides, and they've tried to remove any tension from their body. Their shoulders are low, there's a nice big gap between the bottom of their earlobe and the shoulders, and they're looking straight ahead. It's almost like there is a thread going through each of the vertebrae in the back, slowly, slowly, slowly coming up to being in a straight position. Some people find it quite difficult to find a neutral position. If this is you, then this exercise might help you. Reach up with your hands up above your head. Breathe in as you do so. And have a big yawn. And a big stretch. Bringing your hands back up in front of you and up and overhead. Gently flop over from your waist so that you're hanging from your waist as you breathe out. And just hang there for a moment. You might want to experiment, move from side to side. You're just engaging your spine. You're going to come up slowly, one vertebrae at a time, so that your head is the last thing to come up. This might help you feel more neutral. And everyone in the room, regardless of who they play, is going to think about one specific character now. I'm choosing Pandora as a starting point because she's quite an extreme archetypal character. In your neutral position, start to think about Pandora, imagine her in your mind's eye. And then I'm going to give you a count of 5 to transform into Pandora. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And as an interesting experiment, I'm going to ask you to extend her even further so she's totally ridiculous and enormous. It won't necessarily be that you choose to play her this way in your production, but it's a helpful exercise. So let's push her to be even bigger. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Open your eyes. And just in your own world, take your Pandora for a walk. Off you go. And as you can see, each of the actors is realizing Pandora in a slightly different way. And if you found one gesture or physicality that really works for Pandora, it might be a hand on a hip or a particular way of moving your hair, find something else. All humans have a whole range of movement and gesture. See what gestures work for Pandora. And freeze. And notice, are you still working at 10? Are you at the most extreme version of Pandora you can be? If you're not, extend now into it. Push yourself, push the physicality. So she's almost grotesque. And take her for a walk again. And freeze. And can just Janet take her Pandora for a walk, please? If everyone else can watch and see. So we've got quite a bouncy Pandora here. Quite different to some of the other choices. Thank you, Janet. And let's see Naomi's version of the character. Much more strutting, kind of a meaner face. All very, very good choices. And freeze again. And let's see Liam's. And Liam's moving his legs in quite an unusual and interesting fashion. And freeze. So by looking at how other people choose to physicalize the character, if you're playing Pandora, you can choose the best bits from your fellow actors' work to make your version of Pandora. One of the challenges of the play is transforming quickly between characters. So we're now at a version 10 of Pandora, and I'm going to give you a count of 3 to transform back to neutral. 3, 2, 1. Are you neutral? Check in with yourself. And being able to transition really quickly between these characters is really important. So we're going to try now to transition on a click. So we're currently neutral, and when I click my fingers, we're going to transform to Pandora. And back again. And to help you, you might want to make a sound as you make that transformation. So let's try it with a sound. And back again. So that was Pandora. We're going to try a very different character now. We're still in those more larger-than-life archetypal characters. And this time it's a character from Matt's world. So we're going to choose Awkward Bob. So from your neutral position, start to think about your Awkward Bob. Remember, each of your versions will be completely different. It doesn't have to be how Janet played the role in the production. And I'm going to give you a count of 5 to transform into Awkward Bob. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And again, let's push him up to 10. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And let's take Awkward Bob for a walk. Again, very different physicalities, very different speeds. Experiment with different gestures. Make certain you're keeping him up there at 10. And freeze, and let's just see some examples. Molly, can I see your Awkward Bob, please? Really interesting foot position, kind of quite duck-footed there, and freeze. And can we see Grace's version of the character? Almost goblin-like. Excellent, and freeze. And can we see Caitlin's? And this reads as a far kind of shyer version of Bob. And freeze. And we're going to transform now back to neutral on a count of 3, 2, 1. Check in, are you in neutral? And we're going to try and transition to Bob on a click with a sound. And back again. And now we're going to go to Pandora. And now we're going to go from Pandora to Bob with a sound. And back to neutral. So you're starting to get the hang of this now. We're going to do one last character. And one of the joys of this particular play is that some of these characters can easily be played by people who are not the gender of the character. So as you saw in our production, Molly plays Dirty Dan. So the next character we're going to be working with is Dirty Dan. So if you imagine him in your mind's eye, and I'm going to count to 5. 1, 2, becoming Dirty Dan, 3, 4, 5, push him up, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and off you go, take him for a walk. And freeze and make certain you're up at 10, lean into it, squeeze into it if you're not. And let's see Molly's definitive version of Dan. He's got very low centre of gravity, very much led by the pelvis. Very big upper body language, very slack jaw, really interesting. And freeze, let's see Liam's version. And this character in some ways is much more led by the chin, and he's got his swinging arms that gives him quite a high status. And finally, let's see Janet. But it's very much see how she's being led by the heel there when she plays him. Very interesting. And freeze.
And we're all in Dirty Dan, and we're coming back to neutral on 3, 2, 1.
And we're going to transition between the characters on clicks. So we're going to go Bob. And let's add sounds to these. Dan. Pandora. Bob. And relax.